Mediterranean Mosaic. The Mediterranean is the Middle Sea. There's many seas: Aegean, Tyrrhenian, Ionian, Adriatic. The great rivers meet and mingle: the Po and the Ebro, the Rhone and the Arno, the Nile and the Tiber. The waters wash the shores of Asia, of Africa, of Europe. Europe's new master, Hitler, waxing bold in the limelight of his conquering armies, grants an audience to his Axis partner from the Mediterranean. Flourish and pomp are an integral part of such meetings. Between them, these two, Il Fiore and Il Duce, have arrogated to themselves the destiny of the old world, all its oceans, all its people. On the mountaintop headquarters in Berchtesgaden, called the Eagle's Nest, plans are formulated to conquer the Mediterranean. Colonel General Jodl, Hitler's personal chief of staff, urges reduction of Gibraltar and Suez. Seal off the inland sea and make it an Axis lake. The Italian Navy, deployed in 3 swift squadrons and manned by able crews, is a grave, powerful menace to the lifeline binding the British Commonwealth of Nations. A menace to the Allied world. The French fleet guards the western Mediterranean at the outbreak of war. Famous for the speed of its cruisers and destroyers, the French sortie from their bases at Toulon, Algiers, and Oran. Their hopes are high, their faith as yet unshattered. Churchill warns the Allied world that the safety of Great Britain and the Empire is powerfully, though not decisively, affected by what happens to the French fleet. For the British, control of the Mediterranean rests literally on a rock, Gibraltar, guardian of the narrow strait that leads from the Atlantic into the sea which serves as a moat around Hitler's southern flank. Natural fortress, indestructible sentinel, Gibraltar was ceded to the British by the Spanish in 1713. What nature has provided, the British through the centuries have improved. The rock is encrusted with armament, is alive with soldiers. The Royal Navy faces the longest odds in all its history in the coming battle for the Mediterranean. If the rock goes, North Africa and the Near East go with it. His Royal Royal Highness the Duke of Gloucester, brother of the King, inspects the defenses. From Gibraltar, there is a 1,900-mile seaway, east to Suez, that must be kept open, that must be protected. The flags of the free rally around the Rock. The ships gather for passage to Egypt in the Near East. Some will go to Malta, England's mid-Mediterranean island fortress, so urgently desired by the Axis, so vital to the Allies. On these ships rests the fate of empires. As a convoy heads for Malta, the ship's officers face the harsh knowledge that the enemy is under, over, and on the sea route ahead. But officers and men remember the ancient words. It is upon the Navy, under the good providence of God, that the wealth, safety, and strength of the kingdom do chiefly depend. One of England's great decisions of the war is to strengthen her Mediterranean fleet while the British Isles are still in danger of German invasion. The Royal Navy, outnumbered and outgunned here, sweeps forth to clear the sea lane to Malta. Battleships like the King George V, manned by men to whom long odds are not a discouragement but a challenge, hold the Mediterranean open. Horsepower, 110,000. Speed, better than 30 knots. Yet the soul of the ship is not her machinery, but the spirit of the English sailors who manned her. From the days of sail to the time of the turbine, that spirit has remained unaltered. It destroyed the Spanish Armada, smashed Napoleon at Trafalgar. In World War II, this spirit permeates the fleet. It is more formidable to Britain's foes than armor plate and cannon. Wars are not won by guns alone. The words, the great words of the Royal Navy's traditional prayers, sustain the sailors in their peril. Eternal Lord God, who alone spreadest out the heavens and rulest the raging of the sea, who has compassed the waters with bounds until day and night come to an end, be pleased to receive into thy almighty and most gracious protection the persons of us, thy servants, and the fleet in which we serve. Aboard a British man-of-war, there are 5 mealtimes a day. Cocoa on the morning watch, breakfast,